Emmy Long. I'm a Communication Studies major with a Public Relations minor.
My name is Becky Leach, and I'm a Communication Studies major and PR minor.
My name is Madison Embush, and I'm a Mass Communication major.
My name is Gerald Cunningham. I am a Mass Communication and COMS double major with a PR minor.
Well, I chose Communication Studies and PR. It was a very roundabout way of doing things. I came in as marketing. I thought, I'm a business person, I can do this, I like bottom lines, I like numbers. And then I realized that my whole life I've spent it talking, listening to people, having conversations.
I chose to double major in Mass Communication and COMS Studies because when I started doing mass communication, I fell in love with the idea of production and the idea of directing.
Mass communication fit my personality because I like to be with people.
And I knew to be a producer and a director, you have to know how to communicate with many different types of people in different crews and different organizations and different PR firms. So I decided to pick up the comms major as well, so I would know to be in that leadership position and to work well in that leadership position, you have to know how to communicate with a lot of different types of people.
I was first an English major coming into college, and my friends say that one morning I woke up and just decided I'd like to hear the argument for communication studies.
I just thought I like talking and I speak a lot, and maybe that's a thing somewhere.
So I approached Dr. Wang and Dr. Ford, and I asked to hear their arguments about why I should be a communication studies major.
And it just hit me one day. I was in class and I was listening to comms and I enjoyed it. It didn't feel like a class to me. It felt like a hobby to go in and to learn these things about the way we communicate. And it was just inherent. And it was a beautiful transition into it, and I have certainly loved it.
Because I was really looking for a major that could give me some practical application of what I was learning in the classroom. And they convinced me right away.
Probably one of my favorite things I've done with the Department of Communication was my first journalism class I took, because that was my introduction to it all, and that's when I began to start loving it.
One of the most positive experiences I've had is probably my interpersonal communication class that I took with Dr. Ford. The interpersonal communication class was kind of my reassurance that I did right by double majoring with comms.
So Dr. Thompson's Mass Comm 200 class, and it was just about writing articles, but I loved it because I had never been exposed to that before.
Because it showed me that there are people out there and there are students out there that kind of have the same passion for comms as I do, due to the in-class discussions and due to the way that we would all voice our opinion, and people didn't try to make their opinion better than another person, or people did not try to, or students didn't try to, disregard someone else's comments. It was really one of the best, it was probably the best communication class I've taken since I've been on campus, all because of the way that we all interacted with each other.
I love going into class every day, and my professors ask me, how are you doing? How's life going? And then they ask me questions, and I can give my own input. Things that I might not have said in high school, or things I was reserved and didn't give input to in my other classes. And I feel like I'm really accepted there, and what I say is important.
My Mass Comm 215 class, which is production in the studio, just gives you a real life experience of not what it's like to be in the newsroom, but just what it's like to be around media in life, in any different type of aspect.
I really enjoyed Dr. Finkley's newscast class because it opened up a whole door again that I'd never experienced before, and I learned a whole lot, from producing to anchoring to even social media things.
Classes that really stick out to me are Dr. Osley's leadership communication class and Dr. Ford's research methods class. And I know research methods isn't necessarily the most popular choice in the major because it's very dry at times, it's very scientific, it's not extremely discussion based, but I find it really useful, especially if you're considering going into grad school, if you want to look at how our major is a bit more scientific and why we can defend it as, yes, we should be a scientific discipline.
Well, right now I'm also in just a regular comms class, public speaking, and having to learning how to put together a speech and speaking in front of my class, and even the impromptu speeches we have to do, has really helped me with other things on campus, like even the Gold Side leader. I had to speak in front of a whole bunch of people last week, and it was intimidating, but I knew that I had gained the confidence through the things I'd done.
I am Executive Vice President of my sorority Alpha Delta Pi, and I'm a maven for the admission staff, and I'm also working with the honors program as a peer mentor. And there are so many different situations that I encounter on a daily basis. It could be that I am helping my fellow sorority sisters try to communicate their goals and try to raise money for our philanthropies. It could be that I'm trying to convince a student that they want to come here. It could be that I have a student that's in honors who's really having a hard time and I need to advise them. And there are so many different situations and aspects that I need to switch back and forth from. And communication allows me to see every aspect of what I need to do and how to say it and how to do it appropriately.
I began research in the summer of my freshman year, and it was right after 101. I didn't have research methods yet, and Dr. Ford and Dr. Wang recommended it to me and said that this is a great way you can really get intimate with the major, and a great way you can actually love and learn about what you're studying. So I began early, and I found that undergraduate research really, on the surface level, people are always saying that it's great on your resume, it's great to know if you want to go into grad school, but what it's really about is a process of self-discovery. You learn about yourself, you learn about your working habits, you learn about your limits, you learn about your strengths.
I've seen that communication plays into everything I do. The way I relate to people, the way that I strike up conversation in the Walmart line, the way that I plan Depot Days, which is our Hartselle hometown event that really brings in a lot of money for our nonprofits in town. It's really shaped my life and everything that I do. And I don't know where I would be without it.
The Department of Communication as a whole has made me realize that people are not going to respond to you if you're not professional, and people are not going to respond to you if you are a person that's not on top of their game.
Professionalism, I think, is one of the guiding arcs in our department especially.
Professionalism is everything. If you don't represent yourself well, then you can't be taken seriously.
I really appreciate how much our department emphasizes professionalism, because you need professionalism to appear like a coherent speaker, one who cares about your message and also cares about your audience members. The stereotypes I've heard and still hear today is that communication studies is common sense, that it's easy. You don't need to spend your time studying something that you already do.
Being a mass comm major, primarily when I first got on campus, that was my first major that I chose. When people found out that I double majored in comms, the main thing that I always heard was, you're double majoring in the same thing. That's not true.
And that irritates me to hear, because our major, what we study, is much more complex than that. And just because you're a participant in communication doesn't mean you understand all the processes that are happening.
Since I've been here, and I think I'm part of the growth that we've seen, we have really picked up steam, and I think there are so many aspects with mass comm and comm studies that have really come to be.
The Department of Communication has gone in the right direction so far.
We have now a lot more students doing research. There are a lot more people out in the community, and you see them, you go, oh, they're doing research with someone else, they're filming this broadcast.
With Strong Hall coming, it's going to give us a lot more accessibility, especially with comm students and mass comm students being closer together, being more close-knit.
And I think that's going to be huge, because I feel like we're kind of separated.
I have to say, I will miss associating communication studies with the white pillars of Reynolds. But I'm really excited for Strong Hall, because I believe that, like I've said before, communication studies deserves to be recognized as a discipline, as a scientific discipline, and as one that has grounding in this university, and because it affects every department, every person in the university.
And I really see us growing into Montevallo, the town, and the greater Birmingham area, and really branching out and being a regional force on the collegiate campus.
If we have a place that we can call certainly our own, and I think the name is appropriate too, even because we're a strong discipline, I think that'll continue to help us highlight how important and needed we are for everyone.